Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to the Poserverse. The Chiefs lost, and that sucks, but you know what doesn't suck? The top 5-ish books that came out on last week's New Comic Book Day, that if you missed out, you should pick them up on this week's New Comic Book Day. So to see what books made the list, you'll check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Two quick things. Number one, don't forget about Shop Talk on Thursday. We had a hell of an interesting conversation with Travis Gibb from Orange Cone Productions. He's got Granite State Punk up on Kickstarter now. You should check it out. It was an amazing interview, and he's got a dope opportunity through his Substack where you can basically become an executive producer on a comic book from start to finish. Number two, don't forget to comment on tomorrow's video where you can be the winner of the second poser pile, and you can watch tomorrow's video to see what books last week's winner picked up. So without any further ado, let's talk books. Alright, only 2 honorable mentions this week, and I'll go through them as quickly as I did last week. Your first from Marvel Comics is Thor number 21. I really enjoyed this. Was a big high-octane episode where we got the reveal of who the God of Hammers was in the previous episode. We get just a big old fight between Thor and the spirit that was inside Mjolnir. We get a reveal of who's potentially coming in terms of the big bad of this next arc. Pretty interesting read. And then the other one, ASM number 87. This is written by McKay, Gomez, and Valencia. Like I said on Shop Talk, this was probably single-handedly one of the most fun books that I've read in a while. It's how Stella got her groove back, but it's making Peter Parker confident in himself and becoming Spider-Man again. Coming in at number 5, and you're going to be shocked when you hear this, and you can already see the cover on the back, so you know it's a DC book. Flash, number 778. This is by Jeremy Adams, Fernando Pasarin, Matt Ryan, Brent Peoples on the art, Jeremy Cox, Peter Penzetis, Matt Herms on colors, and Rob Lee on the letters. So, kind of 2 things are happening in this. First, Wally's daughter and a friend sneak out, and they get kidnapped by somebody who wants the young Iris the Speedster, and Wally is dealing with all of the absolute bonkers things that are going on in the Justice League Dark universe, and I just like kind of watching this big fight to dispossess the Justice League Dark team from whatever's controlling them. And then you get some of the background plot on what's kind of being created to track individuals with heightened abilities. I didn't catch if it was just people who were tapped into the Speed Force or anybody with some kind of anomaly. And then all of a sudden, Iris's brother shows up to save him. And seeing kind of that connection, seeing how powerful he can be, but also how threatened his body is if he attempts to share the Speed Force with Iris, was a good read. And then as you kind of get resolution of, what's happening with the 2 kids, the intensity only seems to go up in this issue of The Flash, knowing that, while it appears that all things were looking to be going well in Gem World, that's definitely not the case. Coming in at number 4 from Boom Studios is House of Slaughter number 4. And this is the story universe by James Tynion. The script is by, Tate Bromble? Art by Chris Sheehan, Mikel Muerto, and letters by And World Design. And I like this issue primarily because you're getting little bits of jumping back and forth in time. That that there's some tension between Jace and Aaron, and you don't really know what has fully cemented Jace being on the you need to be killed now list. And we're getting some, jumping back and forth in time from when they're relationship, was kind of solidified at the House of Slaughter on the day of Jesus' trial. And then some of those things are kind of hopping forward in time as Aaron is, threatening to kill Jace in the woods. You get a lot of interesting development. You get a big-ass spooky monster reveal in terms of who the White Masks had to fight to earn their teeth. And you just kind of get, some interesting emotional layers between these two. While, Jace may be skilled, he's also ostracized from the rest of the White Masks. But you also finally get the reasoning as to why Jace showed up at the House of Slaughter in terms of his family's history in the Order of St. George and his... I don't know, there's some foreshadowing going on in terms of what may have happened that gets him on the House of Slaughter's most wanted list. So I'm enjoying the series. I know there are a lot of people who are going, but it's not Something is Killing the Children. You're right, it's not, but it's still an interesting story, kind of watching the layers of bureaucracy in the Order of St. George. Coming in at number 4, from Boom Studios, is Once and Future number 24. It's by Kieran Gillen, Dan Mora, and the person who I think is doing some of the sexiest colors in the game right now, Tamara Bonvillain. So we're getting kind of a tale of two kings going on, where you're seeing, Duncan Graham and I always forget the third woman's name, but they're in the woods outside of Bath, and you're seeing that somebody is kind of pleading to be released from Otherworld, and Graham's like, no. Should we made him mad? No. But I have a plan in terms of who can help kill things. You're also seeing some interesting just parallels in the art on individual panels in terms of, Britons unite, in terms of the English Civil War versus, the battle in Otherworld, where King Arthur is attempting to ascend into kind of taking control of everything, as we learn, way back in issues 1 through 3 of the series. What I really enjoy about this panel made me laugh a lot. The French you shagged your wife, you big ninny. That I enjoyed that kind of insult. But I also like, again, how it reaches into other areas of literature. I think there's a nod to King Lear earlier in here. But I'll just kind of show that little panel right there like that, in terms of the next piece of literature that this book is going to reach into, in terms of expanding, both the Arthurian legend, but also other individuals from across, literary history in England. So, or I guess not just in England, because we got Beowulf earlier on. But a lot of these things are kind of coming together, and it just constantly excites me to read this book. I think the art is beautiful. There's a lot of kind of distortion in panels and in the lettering of this issue, because you are seeing kind of the lines of, normal reality and Otherworld starting to cross over, which is creating some of that weird incongruity, but it's really good looking. Coming in at number 2, from AWA Upshot Studios, is Telepaths number 5 of 6. It's by J. Michael Straczynski, Steve Epping, and Brian Reber. So we are seeing, right, the chaos kind of pick its way up from the north end. Also, if you didn't read Moths, it's one of my top books of last year. You should pick up the trade. It's probably only going to be $9, which is a hell of a deal. But you're starting to see how the telepath on the side of the police and the head honcho in terms of the telepaths from the gang in the north side is how, like, they're starting to play chess with one another, not just while they're shooting at each other. And you're starting to see, a recognition of patterns when it gets back to the telepath who is inside the Pentagon. And he notices how, if you are, you look at this map, that in all areas around the United States where people with telekinesis or pyrokinesis are working together. They're barricading themselves in to basically build colonies. But you have the team led by the gangsters, who are amassing, as much wealth as they can. They are robbing everything, and they're getting on a boat, and they're the only ones who are attempting to flee. So we're starting to try and maybe figure out why. We also are seeing kind of it boil up to the final conclusion between the police and the prisoners, the gangsters, the bad folks in the story, in terms of a showdown that happens on a boat that sets us up things to be quite explosive in the final issue of Telepaths next month. And then there was one. There were a couple other books that I thought would make it up into my top 5 this week that I didn't get. For example, my copy of Space Bastards, like the holiday delivery, wasn't in. There were 2 books from Vault that got delayed this week that I also didn't have in my pull, and they're already showing up on League of Comic Geeks to pick up on the 2nd, so we'll see. But you all knew it was coming from the pull list video. This is damn near everybody's top book from Image Comics. It's back, baby. Saga number 55 from Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan. Instead of trying to forget that the book has been on a 3-year hiatus, the book does a good job of kind of letting the 3 years that has happened in the natural world create a 3-year gap in the land of the story. And now we're playing kind of a Where Are They Now with the current characters. We get, some fast action from Hazel not listening to her mom early on. You literally see, Alana's boobs on like the 6th page of the story. Yep, they're boobs right there, and you're just kind of seeing how everybody comes together. The way that the child of Prince Robot has played its way into this, in terms of the threat that they are already dealing with from the beginning of the issue, makes me excited. I also really enjoyed the letter from Brian K. Vaughan in the back of this one that kind of talked about how they didn't expect the demand to be as high for this, or the explosion behind it as it did, but he was kind of aware that as the world started shutting down because of COVID, there was a rally around the Saga effect that everybody was suggesting it to people to read, especially when we got access to digital apps like Hoopla, where I read 54 issues in 2.5 days because I could get all 3 hardcovers basically checked out, bang them out within a month, and it's like, ooh, let's go. So I'm excited that it's back. It's a good story. The artist there, it feels like we haven't missed anything, and that this might be the textbook definition of fan service in a book, but in a very positive way, because we got all the things that we loved about that series to begin with back, getting us hooked again in issue number 55. So what do you think? Anything that you read that you like better than what's on my list? I know if you're watching live, let me know in the chat over here. If not, and you catch us on the rewind, then let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out tomorrow's video where you can find out what kind of things the recipient of the inaugural poser pile received, so you know what you will be entering to attempt to win on Tuesday. So as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.